When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
And that, my friends, is a clean lesson in how you handle a hostile media. Crush them with irrefutable facts. Miller directed the so-called journalists in the room to ask President Bukele about this man's future. And President Bukele didn't miss a beat when called upon. Here it is.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm most sure that suggested that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States.
It's only
how can I return him to the United States? Like, could I smuggle him into the United States, or whether? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you could release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world to the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? And that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people.
Yeah, sick people. President Trump is really just having the time of his life when he calls a spade, and he's backed up by everybody in the room, except, of course, people like Caitlin Collins. But President Bukele really framed this entire spectacle exactly as he should. Is the media really suggesting the president of El Salvador smuggling a terrorist that belongs in prison in El Salvador? Does he want to bring that person back to the United States? Is that really what they're asking? It's absurd, of course. I mean, totally absurd. The media wants to make this about following the rule of law and obeying the courts, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio straightened that talking point out quickly. Listen.
I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
No court can dictate the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. Bam. End of story. Or at least it should be. But I think the media is going to beat this dead horse as long as it can, or as long as it thinks it can. Fortunately, we've got Stephen Miller here running circles around them. One last clip I need to play from this story. Listen to this.
Do you know the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order? Do you know the difference? Any of you, please. Do you?
Well, we're not in the government.
But you couldn't even spend 72 hours over the weekend learning the distinction, even though you've been writing and talking about it this whole time. Just raise this, please. Just raise your hand. Does any of you know the difference between a deportation order and a withholding order?
Yeah, does anybody know the difference? The answer is no, of course they don't. And you want to get the gotcha questions out there, but how do you ask a gotcha question if you don't actually know the answer yourself? In order to have a gotcha question, it's like an attorney in a courtroom. You know what the answer is before you ask the question. They obviously do not. Unbelievable. But he's exactly right, as Stephen Miller. It's embarrassing. These people call themselves journalists, trying to spin a story that they know nothing about, nothing. And their excuse is, well, we're not in the government. As if it's not their job to understand the government that they're asking about and making accusations of. Kudos to Stephen Miller for filleting them on the spot. That wasn't the only story to come out of yesterday's meeting, by the way. President Bukele shared an anecdote. I'd say it's jaw-dropping, but really, it's almost predictable. If you didn't hear this one, listen close.
Yeah, we even had this gang member from Venezuela, one of the ones you sent, and we interviewed him just to get some information, etc. from them. And he said, oh, well, I got arrested 6 times, but they released me the 6th time, so I should be released again. And then he said, well, what's the last thing you do? And he said, well, I shot a cop in the leg, but I didn't kill him. I just shot him in the leg. And we're like, this guy was arrested 6 times here in the United States, 6 times. He was released 6 times, and in the he was released 5 times, and the last time he was sent to El Salvador, right? So he's not getting released. But the last time he shot a cop, actually, and he shot him in the leg. So these are, like you said, there's something broken.
It's the liberal establishment. But they're not running things anymore in this country, and we're run by, and I don't say conservative, I don't say anything, we're run by people with great common sense.
All right, so maybe not jaw-dropping like I said, since we knew that this is what the Biden administration was aiming to do for 4 straight years, but still, it's shocking, it's appalling. Thank God for the fact that Homeland Security can actually do its job now and get these people off from our streets. President Trump also floated the idea of getting our own homegrown violent offenders from our streets and ship them out. What do you think of this?
They don't play games. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve, okay?
Look, I don't think that it's legal. I'm pretty sure it's probably not. You can't just take somebody and ship them out of the country without due process and the actual constitutional protections afforded to an actual citizen of this country. But I don't dislike the idea of looking at new ideas. How do we make things better? How do we make the neighborhoods better for people who can't leave those neighborhoods? I mean, think about what it's like for one of these neighborhoods where one of these MS-13 gangbangers was removed, and you've got the Democrats saying they must come back. You're an elderly person that lives there on the corner of whatever city that is. And you hear Democrats screaming to bring back MS-13 gang members because they didn't get a fair shot. Well, like President Trump says, it's something he's considering if it fits within the rule of law. I doubt it, but I'd be willing to bet that he might put the fear of God into some of the criminals anyway. An El Salvador max security prison, a whole other ballgame. In fact, it's a whole other sport. Now, on the economic front, a good day on Wall Street Monday, not too bad so far today. Another huge win for the American people. A groundbreaking contract with one of the world's largest computer chip manufacturing companies, Nvidia, who is committing $500 billion in investment in this country to build computers here on American soil. More great news for this country. Listen to Trump's reaction.
Well, it's one of the biggest announcements you'll ever hear, because Nvidia, as you know, controls that almost the entire sector, which is one of the most important sectors in the world, between chips and semiconductors and everything else. And they're the biggest. And the other biggest we already have coming in and spending $300 billion, as you know. They announced 2 weeks ago. But Nvidia is so highly respected. And this was an announcement that a lot of people, I knew it was going to happen, but not to the extent that it happened. It's big. And the reason they did it is because of the election on November 5th and because of a thing called tariffs.
Quick update on the markets. The Dow down about 100 points, NASDAQ 15 points, S&P 500 less than 5 points. Pretty even day on the market. No real big fluctuations. And looking at that deal there, I don't think it can be overstated how big of a deal this really is. Not even hours before former Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called something like this a pipe dream. No, really, she did. Listen for yourself.
Perhaps it's to bring back American manufacturing, but I really think that's a pipe dream and not something that is likely to be accomplished. And we could even raise questions about whether or not, in a broad-based way, that's a desirable goal.
Look, I told you before, Janet Yellen, she's not bright. She's not. I told you that for years. Janet Yellen is not a smart woman, not at all. This is who was in charge of our economic policy, by the way, in large part for the last 4 years. Someone who says onshoring American manufacturing jobs, not in our best interests. And Democrats wonder why the working class feels left in the dust by them. This contract will result in more than 1 million square feet of manufacturing in Arizona and Texas. Nvidia Blackwell chips will be built and tested in Arizona. AI supercomputers will be built in Texas for the first time ever. And it's going to happen fast. Mass production is expected to ramp up in the next 12 or 15 months. These AI supercomputers are the future. They are the engines behind the data that processes artificial intelligence, and they'll be built here in America. That's a win. This contract is expected to bring hundreds of thousands of jobs and trillions of dollars in economic security. This strengthens our supply chain, chips away at our dependence on China for anything, especially tech production. Thank you, President Trump. Let me just say that. On behalf of the American people, thank you. Please keep up the good work. All right, we'll keep an eye on that shooting in Dallas. And coming up after the break, the American Legislative Exchange Council released its 18th edition of Rich States, Poor States here on this tax day, which measures the economic outlook for each state in the coming year. How did your state fare? We'll find out after the break.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-538-4499 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-538-4499. There's no risk or obligation. That's 1-800-538-4499. Call now.
This crime happens a lot, and it's happening more and more often. I have been fighting title fraud since 2003. I know it's real.
Title fraud is the most common source of real estate litigation that I am aware of. It is rampant.
This really is a crime that can impact anybody who owns any property.
Genuinely evil people are defrauding and victimizing innocent people.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
Well, the American Legislative Exchange Council, also known as ALEC, released its highly anticipated 18th edition of Rich State, Poor States today. The premier annual report ranking each state's economic outlook for the coming year. The American Legislative Exchange Council is America's largest nonpartisan voluntary membership organization of state lawmakers dedicated to the principles of limited government, free markets, and federalism. Wouldn't that be nice? Here with me to discuss this newly released index is the president and chief economist at the American Legislative Exchange Council, Jonathan Williams. Jonathan, nice to see you here today.
Well, great to be with you. Thanks for the invitations, and greetings from the #1 state in America, Utah.
All right. Well, Utah. All right. So there you've let the cat out of the bag. Utah #1 for economic outlook. Okay. Why?
It's a great story. We were just doing a press conference with Governor Cox and the legislative leaders earlier today. It's an incredible success record of limited government, lower taxes, a state that just, they keep going. Other states across the country want to catch Utah, but Utah looks around the corner and says, what do we need to do to stay at the top and empower our taxpayers? And as we like to say, the proof's in the pudding. Utah is the fastest growing state in America in terms of GDP growth over the last year. Think about this, Steve, for a second. Utah has more than 4.5% GDP growth in the last 12 months, and they're a leader over the last decade when it comes to GDP growth, job growth, and even population growth. And so the connection between lower taxes and limited government philosophy here, it's done wonders for the state of Utah, and I think it's going to continue based on what we're seeing.
So other states that see things going the other direction, give me who. All right, so Utah's first. Who's last, Jonathan?
Well, it's not going to surprise you at all. New York is dead last at 50th out of 50. They've been dead last for 12 years in a row now. They gave it up 1 year where they gained an entire one spot to 49th, and Vermont, Bernie Sanders' Vermont, took it over at dead last. But it's the mix, it's really the toxic mix Ronald Reagan warned us of, which is the liberal view of the economy. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. That's what we're seeing in states like New York and California and Illinois, which, by the way, they're the states, Steve, that Americans are voting with their feet very strongly against the states that have this high tax format, and they're voting towards states like Texas, Florida, and Utah that actually value economic freedom and empowering individuals.
Sure. Jonathan, I want to ask you about two states that you have not mentioned, and the reason I mentioned these two states, Ohio and Iowa, there's a reason for this. They're both former swing states. They're both states that used to determine elections, but now they're very much red states. What kind of changes do we see there? I see you glancing at your notes, which is fine. It wasn't supposed to be a pop quiz, but I do want to know, what are these states doing? They've become solidly red over the last 2 or 3 presidential election cycles. I don't see that changing. How are they doing?
Well, both of those states are great states. I mean, I'm a Michigan native, as you know well, and the Midwest has been a competitive region over the years. Both Iowa and Ohio improved this year in the rankings because you've had, I think, a commitment from both of those states as they've seen more conservative, not just presidential votes, but more conservative legislators begin to take office over time. And you've seen this really trend towards both of those states cutting taxes. They became, in many cases, more pro-job creator when it comes to lower regulation. And there are states that, in Iowa's case, it kicked off the flat tax revolution just a number of years ago with Governor Reynolds and legislative leaders. So they've both been incredible turnaround stories.
And what about your home state? My home state of Michigan, much more left of center politics, no question about it. Governor Whitmer, who hid behind her notebook there in the Oval Office infamously here a couple of days ago. What is Michigan doing compared to those two states you just described?
Well, Michigan falls this year. That's not going to surprise no one, as Ohio and Iowa and Indiana and many states in the Midwest gain, losing right to work and seeing just the reversal of fortunes there. Thank God we have Speaker Matt Hall, who as minority leader stopped so many of the bad things from getting done in Lansing in December in that horrible lame duck session that the progressives were running. But Michigan's going to fall this year, and there's going to be gridlock for the next 2 years, and I think we just have to look ahead to 2026 and hope that we have a freedom-minded governor and legislature that comes in and reverses this decline.
To me, can't the people of New York say, hey, Utah, what are you doing? Hey, Ohio, what are you doing? Hey, Indiana, what are you doing? It would seem that best practices would come into play, but Jonathan, they do not. Greatly appreciate your insight here. Limited government, lower taxes, right to work. These things help states to be economically powerful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Greatly appreciate it. Tariffs, meanwhile, have thrown the global economy into some chaos, as you well know. Potential widespread inflation tied to massive supply chain disruptions is weighing heavily on all of us. But there is a silver lining that most people miss. President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from these sweeping tariffs. Did you know that? While these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals and protect your wealth. If you're concerned about your savings, I encourage you to have a free consultation with a Birch Gold Precious Metals specialist. The first step is to text America to 989898. Receive your free, no obligation information kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and shelter in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket. I buy my gold from Birch Gold. It's finally time you did too, don't you think? Maybe. An A-plus rating for the Better Business Bureau. Thousands of thankful, satisfied customers. Text America to 989898. You can find out more. Again, that's text America to 989898. Claim your free information kit right now. Up after the break, an IRS official involved in an Obama-era scandal now quietly running a division within the IRS. Crazy, right? Couldn't happen, right? Yeah, details ahead.
There's a concerted effort to intimidate and censor conservative thinkers. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are being threatened by the most liberal progressives America has ever seen. It seems like everything they do is to the detriment of our great nation. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the left. Join AMAC. AMAC is a voice for conservatives that cannot be ignored. Stand with over 2 million America-loving patriots by joining AMAC today.
We're in a very holy time of the year. We think in terms of a deliverance.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time. This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
This Passover, if you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials and matzah for the Passover holy day. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
Yep, today is the day we all know and love. It's tax day, and it's my dog's birthday. You know, it's pretty easy to remember when your dog's born on tax day, right? I'm kidding, of course, not everybody's favorite day except Cody. Speaking of taxes, recently it came to light that an IRS official who played a major part in the Obama-era Tea Party scandal is now running a key tax division within the department. Holly Paz, a former IRS commissioner and Lois Lerner's top deputy at the agency, as Lerner and the Obama IRS allegedly targeted political opponents, and she is currently listed on the IRS website as the commissioner of the agency's large business and international division. Some government watchdog groups are calling for her job to be tripped and dumped, actually, given her past. Here with me to discuss this is the CEO for the Alliance of IRS Accountability and former Chief of Staff in the Senate, Chuck Flynn. Chuck, nice to have you here.
Steve, appreciate you having me on.
Look, it's hard to root out all the bad actors and all the bad players and all the people with ill intent that maybe have a nefarious agenda, but this one seems pretty obvious, doesn't it?
You would think. Holly Paz has been at the agency for a long time. She was involved in the Tea Party scandal, was Lois Lerner's top deputy, was even accused of misleading Congress during the Tea Party scandal. But the irony of this is that not only has she remained at the agency, but she's actually been promoted. And now she's running a division over there. that's running a new team, a pass-through audit team that was created by President Biden that's become very politicized in nature, not just because you have Holly Paz as the commissioner of the division where it's located, but because of statements and actions that are very political that have been taken by IRS officials. And I'll give you a couple of examples. One of the officials at the IRS said that they're looking to go after individuals who want to make basis great again, which is just a slap at President Trump's campaign slogan of making America great again. Basis simply refers to a type of common transactions that pass-throughs use. And for the viewers at home, a pass-through can be an LLC, it could be a partnership. These are commonly used legal structures.
An S-corp is probably the most common one to me. The S-corp is a pass-through, correct?
That's correct. Another incident or action, I would say, with political undertones is they have an information document request form for this audit team. They've dubbed it the art of the IDR. It's a very invasive form that they send to these pass-through businesses. And President Trump has a book that is called The Art of the Deal, and is once again mocking President Trump, mocking his supporters, a lot of politically charged statements, actions, and then you combine this with the fact that it's being led by a woman who was involved in the Tea Party scandal. And what you have is something that looks a heck of a lot more like a political hit squad than any well-intentioned endeavor by the IRS. And I would just add that,
and you go back and hold on, I want to go back, Chuck, to the whole Lois Lerner deal, right? And that whole thing that went on. Conservative nonprofits were not given their clearance. They were held basically at bay for years. Some of them, were destroyed because of it, and they act like this is okay. Right? This is like business as usual, and it's not. This should never be allowed. Targeting, mocking, undermining. I don't know that Donald Trump's aware of this, because I think he would do something about it immediately if he knew.
Steve, I would also add that, just to get a little bit more granular, even with Ms. Paz, she actually worked on some of those Tea Party applications. As I said, she was very involved in this with Lois Lerner and was her top deputy. So, right, it's amazing that she could still be there. It's amazing that she could be even promoted afterwards. So we've raised it as an issue. We want to know more about it. We want records from the IRS. This team should be eliminated just based on the fact that President Trump has issued an executive order to end weaponization in the federal government, which he did on his first day in office.
Absolutely true. Chuck, greatly appreciate you being here. Now, I know you're going to keep an eye on us. So when you find out more, we'll have you back on. We'll get an update, because this is pretty simple stuff here. Like I said, some hide, some blend in. This is not the case. Thank you for the information. Thank you for the update.
Thank you, Steve.
Really appreciate it. Well, it is a new day in America and a new administration in Washington, as you know. A lot of excitement still and optimism about the future of this country, but the reality is there is a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing a broken healthcare system, and that's been evident for a long time. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking the healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. No, they're cashing in on this deal. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared no matter what happens, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. Its doctors are medical professionals. You can trust them and their line of prescription medical kits, because they're considered the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of all of these medications, from the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu. A trip down the street or a trip around the world, the Wellness Company has a kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part to protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health/voice. Do that today in order. TWC for the Wellness Company. .health/voice. Use the promo code VOICE. You'll save 10%. After the break, President Trump gave a faith-filled presidential message on Palm Sunday in honor of Holy Week. With Easter around the corner, Good Friday coming in just a couple of days. Many expect the White House celebration to be unique this year. More details ahead.
Hello, friends. Pat Boone here with a message from the past. Imagine the shock of reading tomorrow's newspaper and discovering the price of gold has doubled to over $1,000 an ounce. Sound impossible? Well, it's not. That's right. Back in 2006, my friends at Swiss America forecast gold prices would top $1,000 an ounce, and they were right. Today, several financial firms are forecasting $3,000 gold. Now, for over 40 years, Swiss America has helped folks like you and me purchase precious metals for home delivery and for our IRAs. So don't miss this opportunity again. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen now to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Learn for yourself how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I looked at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
You too can feel better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
Did you know that somebody could literally steal your house? Yeah, that is a thing that happens. It is when a criminal forges your signature on one document, uses one fake notary stamp, they then take out loans using your home equity, and the worst part of it is, you don't even know it's happening until you start getting collections and foreclosure notices. This right here is why you need to use Home Title Lock.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
All right. President Trump issued a faith-filled presidential message on Palm Sunday in honor of Holy Week as Christians around the world commemorate the holiest time of the year. And now there are reports that his administration is also planning a unique Easter staff worship ceremony at the White House. President Trump's Holy Week message wasn't a typical official government statement. It was filled with the type of language used by Christians. Not that. Pointing to this week as being sacred to his personal faith. Here with me to discuss this is the president of Summit Ministries, Dr. Jeff Myers. Jeff, it's not the first time. First of all, good to see you. It's been a while. It's not unusual for there to be prayer sessions at the White House. John Tyler held Bible studies. He was the 10th president, might have been a year or two ago, had 15 kids. And, when they said go forth and multiply, he took that seriously. He took Bible studies seriously. But man, in this day and age, for Donald Trump to say such things is it's triggering to some people. I personally love it. What do you say?
Well, there are people who are triggered when you say that the Earth revolves around the sun too, and that we just have to recognize. I mean, 9 out of 10 Americans believe that Jesus bodily rose from the dead. 2/3 of Americans say they believe that the facts as presented in the Bible are completely accurate. So when you have administrations like the past administration, the Biden administration, that chose, instead of offering an Easter message, to offer a message on Transgender Day of Visibility, you can see the tone deafness of that. Whereas the Trump administration is essentially saying, look, we're with you. This is a fact of history. It is the single most provable fact in all of history. It's something that we worship. It's part of our worship, but it's also part of actual reality, and we lose nothing by acknowledging it.
That's exactly right. Christmas is alive. Easter is alive. Good Friday is alive. It just seems to me, and you spent a lot of time, obviously, looking at these things, Jeff, I mean, at Summit Ministries and all the things you do and the books you write and the people you talk to, it really does feel like we're taking the country back from the radicals that would have you believe that, you can butcher children and turn them into something they're not, that you can throw God out of the public square in the public school and it'll be good for everybody. None of that is true. I mean, look at the French Revolution. How'd that work for them? They kicked God out and brought in logic and reason. Didn't work so well for them, now did it?
Well, there's an old saying, if you marry the spirit of the age, you'll be a widower in the next. And that is, I think, what a lot of people are seeing in our own time. They're saying, look, we tried this. We tried this thing of you are your own truth. We tried this thing of you can be whatever gender you want to be. This is not leading us to purpose in life. It's not. It's causing us to be focused on ourselves when we should be focused on others. And we're seeing massive, massive changes in young adults. At Summit Ministries, our enrollment, we're completely full for all the programs that we have. We've never had such interest in our program. And young men in the United States of America seem to be the ones who are turning the corner. This
is that counterintuitive? Do you find that counterintuitive, Jeff? And what I mean by that is, during COVID, churches got closed, the pews emptied, a lot of people never went back to the church, and yet you're saying there's a resurgence in Christianity right now, despite what happened with COVID.
There is a resurgence in Christianity. The decline of Christianity has leveled. That never happened in Europe. So that's why sociologists were startled when they started seeing that happen in the last couple of years. And then they began asking the question, why is it leveling? And it's largely young men. Young men 18 to 29 years of age are significantly more likely than young women in that same age to say that they are evangelicals, to say that they do not embrace the title nuns, which religion are you? None of the above kind of. And so what we're seeing right now is it's young men. And yes, sociologically, that's never happened before. We've never had a sociological epoch where men were more likely to be spiritual than women. But it's true if men are godly, society has a big view of God. If men are not godly, society has a small view of God. And that's a challenge to all of us as men to be the kind of, to be real men, to stand up for other people rather than to stand against them.
I love the fact that you're saying this, Jeff, on this program. For the last several years. And on my radio program for a dozen years before that, I've been saying America needs more real men, more real fathers, more nuclear families. And I thought for a long time I was yelling into the dark, but you're giving me hope here. Jeff, you really are. There's a resurgence here. There's a hope and an opportunity for men to stand up and be real men again.
That's right. There has been a toxic war against masculinity, as Nancy Pearcey put it. And now we're starting to see that what you really need is real men who have convictions, who have courage, who are willing to stand for what is right. They're even willing to take arrows for what they believe is right. And as soon as you have that, you have the possibility of not only a revival in society, but a reformation of society. And we may be witnessing it right now.
Dr. Jeff Myers, I could talk to you about this for the next hour, but Donald Trump's making his way out, so we're going to have to go and take a look at that. But you come back anytime, of course, as you know. I know you've been off writing a book. We'll talk about that next time you come back, maybe, and you can tell us about it. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
All right. We're keeping an eye on the White House. Donald Trump's going to sign a memo today that will say only American citizens can get Social Security, among other things. We'll talk about that. Plus, we got Congressman Tom Barrett to discuss his act that recently passed the Senate, the Clear Communication for Veterans Claims Act. We'll tell you what that means. Still to come.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-538-4499 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-538-4499. There's no risk or obligation. That's 1-800-538-4499. Call now.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch. 1, add the white cup for rice. 2, add the blue cup for water. 3, click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it.
The secret is perfect cook technology for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve.
It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system, all for just $39.99. Order now.
You know, I always like it when it's my congressman on the program. Just this month, the House of Representatives passed the Clear Communications for Veterans Claims Act, a bill now awaiting consideration in the Senate. This bill requires the Department of Veterans Affairs to seek to enter into an agreement with a federally funded research and development center to assess notices that the VA sends to claimants applying for or submitting claims for VA benefits. The VA must report on the findings of the assessment and implement recommendations in the assessment. Joining me now to discuss this is the man who got it done, my congressman, Tom Barrett of Michigan's 7th Congressional District. Tom, always nice to see you, my friend. I'm glad you're finally getting a little bit more comfortable there in Washington. Got this piece of legislation over to the Senate. Tell the folks what it means. What's it going to do?
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me on. And you're right. This was a priority of mine coming into office because, of course, anybody who's interfaced with the federal government in any agency can recognize how frustrating and difficult that process can be, interfacing with the federal bureaucracy. The VA is among the largest bureaucracies in the entire world. And we have a lot of veterans who apply for benefits that they've earned through their service in the military, often at great sacrifice of their own. And sadly, many of them give up their claims and benefits because they get so frustrated with the process once they're going forward. So right now, if you apply for a benefit from the Department of Veteran Affairs, oftentimes you're met with a whole bunch of notices that come through the mail, a bunch of form letters that, are computer system that is archaic and, generally speaking, out of date and not up to sync with the technology changes. And there's going to be a redundancy of letters that come in, often in very dense legal speak, often in bureaucratic speak, in bureaucratic language as well, that all combine to make it very challenging for veterans just the benefits that they've earned through their service.
So, during Donald Trump's first administration, a lot of the things for veterans did improve. A lot of the roadblocks to service, a lot of the standing in line, not being able to get to a doctor in a timely fashion. How do you feel we are situated now to improve treatment for veterans all across the spectrum of post-service benefits?
We've certainly, made good strides in that direction, but there's still a lot left to go. We've also seen a new generation of veterans who are now claiming benefits. A lot of the post 9/11 era veterans who are now coming home through whether it's through the PACT Act or other other reasons that have arisen from their service for benefits. And we still have members who served in past conflicts who may not have had a physical condition arise until much later in their life. It could be a cancer that developed, 30, 40, or 50 years after they came home, but was attributable to an exposure that they had in the service. And that's something that we always have to be mindful of. And when they apply for these benefits or when they put in a claim, oftentimes that's their only interfacing with the Department of Veteran Affairs that they're ever going to do in their life. And so we have to make it, oftentimes these developed from the vantage point of the department and those that are approving or denying the claims, and not from the vantage point of the person applying. And that's throughout government, not just within the VA. It just feels like within the VA specifically, because the density of the type of layering of statute that's in existence, the layering from that of bureaucratic things lead to this frustrating process, and we're trying to smooth that out for veterans.
We appreciate that. Tom Barrett, always great to have you here. I appreciate what you're doing for veterans. Doug Collins, real quickly before we go, are you pleased with his work so far? The new VA administrator?
He was actually, he was in my district just about 2 weeks ago. It was great to have the secretary of the VA here. We did a town hall with veterans in Howell in my district, and that was something that was really important. We visited 2 different VA hospitals together and learned kind of the particulars about how they operate differently and what's going to happen there. And I'm working closely with him on this upgrade to our electronic health record system. That's something that's been necessary for a long time, but it's been met with a lot of problem as the VA has tried to unroll that in different areas. And Michigan is next up to get that rollout of the new electronic health record system, which will then allow interoperability between veterans' health records within the VA and then their health record, maybe at a private doctor somewhere or another place that they go for some of their health care. It's something we need to do, and I'm working closely with the secretary on that.
One last question. We're keeping an eye, by the way, out for Donald Trump. He's supposed to be signing an executive order, a memo when it comes to Social Security that'll only go to American citizens. Pretty good idea, I'd say, Congressman. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the trade war with China. What do you think about the tariffs and the things that are going on right now? The market's pretty even again today. They seem to have settled down a fair amount. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think Americans realize that we have to put ourselves in the driver's seat of controlling our own destiny as it relates to jobs, manufacturing. And I even look at it, honestly, from a national security standpoint. It was a couple of generations ago that my grandfather fought in World War II, and we had the ability to really build the machinery that we needed to defend ourselves and fight the wars that were necessary for America. If we enter a conflict, God forbid, at some point, we have to make sure that we're able to defend ourselves and build the machinery that it's going to take to defend and safeguard America. And today, I don't think we can claim that we have that. And I think the president's actions are really intended to not just protect American manufacturing for the sake of our economy and our jobs and the livelihoods that come from that. Those are very important. But I look at it also from the national security standpoint. Will we be able to build the things that are necessary to defend ourselves in future conflicts?
Well, I certainly hope so. We've got rare earth elements and minerals in Michigan and Minnesota. There are things we can do right here at home, as everybody knows. Congressman Tom Barrett, my friend, always good to see you.
Great to see you, too. Thank you so much for having me on, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Good to talk to you again. All right, my congressman, I always appreciate seeing him. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a moment.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America, but every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I'd look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Relief Factor is a daily supplement that doesn't just mask pain, it helps eliminate it. Call or go online now for our 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
All right, a tax day edition of America's Voice Live. President Trump expected to participate in the Commander-in-Chief Trophy presentation to the Navy midshipmen at the U.S. Naval Academy. JTN's, that's Just the News' White House correspondent and co-host of Just the News No Noise, Amanda Head, was at the White House earlier today. Amanda, thank you for breaking free and stepping in with us. President's got a lot going on today, including this memo that will mean that only American citizens can get Social Security. What an idea, right?
Oh, can you imagine? I mean, so many common sense ideas. Joni Ernst has a bill that she's proposing to audit IRS agents because apparently IRS agents owe literally millions of dollars in back taxes. There is a theme here, Steve. I know you have recognized it. You and I collectively recognized it in the first term when we were with Rav. It's just common sense. And so much of this, Democrats love to say, oh, those people, the people over 120, they weren't receiving Social Security benefits. Well, first of all, duh, because no one's over 120. But it's not even the fact that they were receiving benefits. It's the fact that they are on the roll. And this is the party who cares about green energy. Think of all of the carbon that is being used to process all of that within the computer system. It's all just so common sense. And Steve, Democrats are finding themselves in a very uncomfortable place so often because it's on the opposite side of common sense.
Right. And here's common sense. You cannot call now. He's going to sign this too. You cannot call and change your Social Security benefits and where it's going to get mailed to and where your check's going. You have to appear in person. What an idea.
What an idea, because if you're dead, you can't show up. And if you're an illegal immigrant, you should not be receiving a Social Security number. Therefore, you should not be able to file to be eligible for Social Security benefits. Again, all of this is just, I think for so many Americans, Steve, we look at this stuff and we're thinking to ourselves, wait, that wasn't the case before? I feel like everybody has that incredulous thought about practically everything that President Trump is doing. It's like, wait, that wasn't what it was before?
Yeah. How did we not do it that way before? You're kidding me. We hear that a lot. Yeah. By the way, you can catch Amanda Head every day with John Solomon. They have the best guests on Real America's Voice every night at 6 right here on the network. Amanda, I wish we had more time. Nice to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, my friend. Hope to see you in person soon.
You will. I'm gonna come spend some time at the White House myself, I think. That's going to wrap it for us today. Donald Trump's going to come out any minute now. And sign those things we were talking about with Amanda. We look forward to that. I'll see you tomorrow morning to kick off Real America's Voice broadcast day here, the Steve Gruber Show, every morning, 6 a.m. And then I'm back for America's Voice Live tomorrow.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
it's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
Do you have stains in your carpet that won't come out? You need Horsepower Bullshot, the all-new hands-free carpet cleaner and deodorizer. Just spray, and the stain and odor go away. Got pet messes? This black light shows a urine stain is gone in just seconds. The advanced foam action formula penetrates deep to emulsify and neutralize stains and odors. It erases blood stains, makeup, juice, coffee, and more. For older and tougher stains, just give it a little rub and watch as Bullshot works its magic. Red wine spills? They're no problem for Bullshot. And watch up close as burnt bacon grease stains are obliterated right before your very eyes. Get Horsepower Bullshot for only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get yours. And there's a strict limit of 3 at this low, low price. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-690-6127 or visit buybullshot.com. So call 1-800-690-6127 or visit buybullshot.com now.
They tried to shut them up.
There's no guarantee to free speech.
They tried to cancel them.
Deplatforming works.
They even threw them in jail.
Peter Navarro.
Steve Bannon.
Now in prison.
But they couldn't stop them.
There's not a prison bill that will ever shut me up.
They call them rebels.
Basket of deplorables.
They call them rogues.
They claim to guns or religion.
And they say they're outlaws.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
War Room presents Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws.
You set out to take Vienna. Take Vienna!
The national bestseller by longtime Bannon producer Dan Fluette. Take a journey through the pictorial history of War Room in a culture that celebrates the weak. Show your support by standing with the rebels. Go to doitfluette.com or scan the QR code on your screen. Use the code RAV20 for 20% off your order. Stand with the rebels and never back down.
Well, there it is. New York Stock Exchange. We're 4 o'clock, folks. 4 o'clock in 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 8. And there is the New York Stock Exchange. Fairly timid day on the floor. Today, 154 points down in the Dow. S&P just down 9. That's a tiny move. And NASDAQ, a minuscule move, less than 0.5% down, 8 points. Well, interesting, though, oil still hovering around $61 a barrel. And crypto was up earlier, up over $86,000 per Bitcoin, and now it's hovering around $84,000 per Bitcoin. All right, make sure they're there. Yeah, so tiny moves. People are digesting what the tariffs mean, where the tariffs are going, who's getting the tariff. You got a tariff? I got a tariff. You're going to get a tariff. I don't want a tariff. You get a tariff. I need a tariff. No tariffs for you. Tariffs for you. Trying to figure it all out. That's why the market gets jittery. But the good news is the VIX, which we've been talking about, the volatility index, creeping down, which means a little bit more settling of the markets. All right, folks, welcome back. Market has just closed, and here's what went on today. I just told you about that. But we're coming in hot. Look, listen, let's do this. Last night I was invited on Bill O'Reilly. Hey, Parker, what's Bill O'Reilly's show called? No Spin. The No Spin News. It's No Spin News. I was on there last night, and we had this debate about tariffs, and Bill is firmly behind the president on tariffs and Lutnick on tariffs, and I got to be honest with you, I will only give you my straight opinion. I've got 20 years on Wall Street, plus I trade actively stocks. I've traded gold. I trade oil. I trade crude oil, agricultural commodities. I trade everything. I trade active stocks, ETFs, everything, Bitcoin. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm against tariffs. I don't like the idea of government getting involved in our markets whatsoever, any which way. So Bill and I had a fairly robust debate, push back a little bit, say, here's a piece of it, you decide.
Down there in Florida, you all right?
We miss you down here, Bill. It's always good to have you in the studio walking around.
You look a little like Maynard G. Krebs with the goatee, but that's all right. It's okay.
By the way, that compliment was amazing, especially coming from the guy who I did sit in for over 250 times over an 11-year period. So I must have been, ratings went down, but they must not have gone down that much, Mr. Bill O'Reilly.
You know, when Juan Williams sat in for me, they really went down. But when you went, you weren't that bad.
Well, that was a little bit of a yuck prior to the actual tariff debate, which happened here.
I know you've had some discussions on your programs, and you had some criticism about the tariffs. Where do you think they are now?
So I stand firm, Bill. I'm a free market, true, like complete free marketeer. I just believe that government shouldn't get their hands in any form of the markets. Now again, let me qualify that with I am really, really rooting for Trump tariffs to work. I hope they do. I'm hearing they are. As Kevin Hastert said, it's going to be astounding when they start telling us what they've gotten or what they've received. My only issue is I just don't like government interfering in markets. And when I mean government, I mean our government also. But if it's going to be used, I think they lost the messaging, Bill. Let me reframe this. It came out where we were going to raise tariffs to the rest of the world to the level that they're charging us. And when they realize they can't do it anymore, their tariffs will come down and our tariffs will come down as well. At some point, it turned to, well, they're all begging to, kind of kiss the ring and come make a deal with us, which was the wrong message for me as a free marketeer. He got back on message recently over the weekend and said, when they lower them, we'll lower them. And that's what I hope for. I hope for a global no tariff or a global 10% across. And I stand by that. I'm free market all the way. And if we somehow get China to play ball and the rest of the world to play ball, lower their tariffs, we lower our tariffs. That becomes a more free market, if that's what it was. It's just that, for a while they got off message talking about the rest of the world owes us something, which no one owes anyone anything. It's a global marketplace. That's all. They're going to get what they can get, just like a retailer would get what they can get for their products in any given retail operation, a store, a mall, online, wherever you get what you can get, what the market will bear. And when government gets involved, it tends to upset that supply demand. So prices meet at where supply crosses demand. I just like it when you change demand because of tariffs, that you change the actual value of the pricing of the product. And we're going to drive prices up if we add tariffs. Anyway, moving on to some of today's news. This guy, Kilmar Abrejo Garcia, the mainstream media's doing everything they can to turn that guy. And in fact, they called him the Maryland guy. They called this guy the Maryland guy, an MS-13 guy who is basically a domestic terrorist deported by Trump. Just so there's no confusion here, the man's a member of MS-13. As a matter of fact, listen to Secretary Kristi Noem break down exactly why this man is no longer allowed to be here in the U.S.
This was just one of those examples of an individual that, was an MS-13 gang member, had multiple charges and encounters with the individuals here. Trafficking in his background, was found with other MS-13 gang members. Very dangerous person. And what the liberal left and the fake news are doing to turn him into a media darling is sickening.
Secretary Noem just said the entire Democrat Party is trying to make Trump the villain, as usual, calling him the Maryland guy. He's an illegal, and he's done bad stuff here. As usual, they're trying to make him the bad guy, Trump, for sending this dangerous dude, bad hombre, home. Senator Chris Van Hollen is one of those ridiculous Democrats, by the way, from Maryland. And he's threatening to travel to El Salvador to personally fight for the man's apparent right. MS-13 member here illegally, may have committed crimes. His right to be here in America. Van Hollen, you nut. Here, watch.
I saw the comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with him. I've requested to meet with him. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask to meet while he's here. But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained. A Maryland man who's the father of 3 in a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States of America.
Why, Chris? Why? So you bring him back, I don't know, maybe he gets off and kills another one of your constituents or rapes one of your constituents' daughters. You okay with that, Van Hollen, you Democrat, liberal, lunatic moron? Well, he's not alone. Timu Obama, also known as Hakeem Jeffries, joined the fight and made some empty threats directed at Trump and the administration. Watch.
To intensify the pressure on the Trump administration to comply with the Supreme Court's directive, and the Supreme Court and or the federal district court actually needs to enforce its order. And the vehicles that are available for the court to do that relate to contempt. And that contempt can be directed at a variety of different members of the Trump administration, including but not limited to the Secretary of State and or his or her designees, and the Secretary of Homeland Security and or his or her designees for the court to determine.
Yes, let's definitely bring this lunatic killer back to America. And I'm not going to say he's a killer. I'll say he's alleged to have committed crimes. Democrats making this their obsession of the week. In fact, here, remember Keith Olbermann? He was a sports guy for a while, and then he decided politics, and he got thrown out of politics. I don't know. I think he's really lost his mind. Keith Olbermann, useless take, number one.
On the all-new Monday Countdown podcast, Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan, the head of ICE, must be arrested immediately for contempt of court. They're defying court orders to return Mr. Abrego Garcia from captivity and torture in El Salvador. And they and Trump are on the verge of being in contempt of court of the Supreme Court, as Trump begins to indicate he will not abide by its rulings about returning Abrego to this country.
Hey, Keith Olbermann, you horse's ass. Do you understand that he's a citizen of El Salvador, not the United States? He has no rights here. He has no right to due process here. You break the law here, you're a citizen of another country. We don't owe you squat, Olbermann. The Democrats like to use big, scary phrases like contempt of court. Yet, if history tells us anything, this is nothing more than what they're used to, fear-mongering by the left wing. They care so much about placing blame, yet not a single member of this absolutely deranged party has mentioned the fact that this deported Maryland illegal migrant is a violent gang member with ties to human trafficking. Why do you think that is? I guess it's because that would kind of ruin the narrative for him. By the way, like I said, if Trump's for it, they're going to be against it, even when it's a horrendous criminal who's done bad things in the United States and not even a citizen. When we deport him, they want him back just because Trump wants to push him out. They want him back. They would hate oxygen if Trump said, I love this big, beautiful American oxygen. Dana Bash over at CNN did her very best job to let America know that CNN is on the people's side. They don't hate us, like Trump said. Well, they don't hate America either. Well, listen.
Where we have heard a lot of bits of information, a lot of news nuggets that we want to definitely focus on, a lot of...
Oh, we don't hate America. We're CNN. We just hate America. The latest conspiracy theory for MSNBC just dropped. Apparently, Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, by the way, well, now she's a Russian agent.
Fantastic. I really hope that alternate universe me is really enjoying like a life that is nicer than where we are right now in this hellhole. Why are we shocked? She's, we learned that she was a Russian agent. They celebrated her, so why do we think that?
We learned that she was a Russian agent?
Yes, we did.
Where did we learn that?
From Russia. We had it mentioned by Hillary Clinton during her debate. Like, should we look into Tulsi Gabbard? Unproven. Okay.
Unproven.
Amen. Okay.
Allegation. No, I'm serious.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, agent is a very strong word of a foreign state.
So Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat. She ran for president as a Democrat. I don't hear any of them complaining about her relationship with Russia when she ran for president as a Democrat. You liberal hypocrite SOBs. On a lighter note, WNBA star, and I use that term loosely because Angel Reese can't hit a layup. She's missed 3 layups in a row that we've watched. Well, he's running her mouth again. The same girl who can't sink a layup thinks that she should be making as much money as, get this, LeBron James, the top scorer in NBA history. Let me remind you that the WNBA is a paper shredder when it comes to Benjamins, when it comes to paper money. And outside of grabbing her own rebounds after missing layup after layup, Reese doesn't offer a darn thing on the court. Listen to her explanation why she should get as much money as LeBron.
See, for women's sports,
us getting paid our worth.
Period.
Like, yeah. Because you're doing exactly what LeBron is doing. So, what's going on?
Sis, I ain't got the money for it just yet, but it's coming. It's coming.
Is it? I don't understand.
It's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. But it's coming. Trust me, it's coming.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. What's coming, Angel? You're going to make $20, $30 million a year? I don't think so. Sorry, I don't think so. Got to hit layups first. All right, before we head to break, I wanted to remind you about my podcast and the YouTube page, which are both updated daily, lets you hear this show, and by the way, tons of other fresh and different new content anywhere, anytime. Be sure to subscribe now so you don't miss it. Let's go to the White House right now. Trump is talking to the Navy midshipmen, folks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Please. Good to be with you. Good-looking people behind me. Too many good-looking people. Never like that many. They look great. We had a wonderful team here yesterday, Ohio State. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Please. Good to be with you. Good-looking people behind me. Too many good-looking people. Never like that many. They look great. We had a wonderful team here yesterday, Ohio State. They also had an incredible season, as you know. Then we had the Dodgers here. They just won the World Series last year, World Series. So we have a lot of people celebrating at the White House. There's no place like it. Very special, very, very special. And it's an honor to have you all. And I want to say, number one, at ease. Just enjoy yourself. You can take it. I'm the boss here. You can take it. You don't have to listen to them for that. Just, you're going to have a good day. And if it's okay, I'm going to invite you over to the Oval Office when we're finished and present you with a little something special. Okay? Sure. Finish up and we'll head over to the Oval Office together. Okay. Today it's a great honor to officially present the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy to the 2024 Navy Midshipmen Football Team. A great team, really great team, great people. Congratulations, and we're thrilled to be joined by a proud Marine Corps veteran Vice President J.D. Vance. J.D.? Where's J.D.? What the hell happened to J.D.? Because he was just here. He must have gotten a call from China. He'll be here. Along with Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Thank you, Pete, very much. You're doing a great job, too. The Houthis aren't doing very well, but you're doing well, aren't you? Huh? Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan, friend of mine, great guy, very successful person, by the way. Our new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Raisin-Cane. Where is he? There he is. I talked about him in my speeches for years. Who knew I was going to be appointing him to be the top? And it's an honor. It's a real honor. Everything you did with me was perfect. I said, what happened to that guy Raisin-Cane? I want him. And that's what happened. And so you're good. I have no doubt about it. Thanks, Dan. Acting Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral James Kilby. Admiral, thank you. Congratulations. And Superintendent of the Naval Academy, Vice Admiral Yvette Davids. Yvette? Oh, hello, Yvette. How are you, Yvette? But I especially want to thank and congratulate Athletic Director Chet Gladchuk, who will soon retire after 24 years. I looked at him and I said, this is a young-looking guy. I don't like this retirement stuff. But after 24 years, and you're going to do other things, I guarantee you that it'll also be incredible. But it's going to be very hard to top what he's done as athletic director. He's had the honor of 4 national championships, 251 conference titles, and 352 All-American athletes. That's not bad. Where are you? Where are you? That is not bad. So you had all of these All-American athletes. Any name athlete that really stands out, or were they just all great athletes? Everyone, as far as you're concerned, they're all the same. Great job you've done. What a record that is. Who has a record like that? I also want to thank some of the newly appointed members of the Naval Academy's Board of Visitors. Sean Spicer is here, and Walt Nauta. Now, Walt could be, he's thinking about going to Guam someday, and he'll be taking over as governor, but we won't mention that right now, Walt, will we, huh? He's fantastic. He's been with me for a long time, and he's great. And Sean, where's Sean Spicer? Sean, congratulations. It's a great honor. I can tell you, a lot of people wanted that position, so you guys are going to do it well. I have no doubt about it. The story of this incredible season began last February when the Navy football team entered the weight room for the winter workouts. I wish I could have joined you, but I was never too much into lifting weights. I should have done it. I could have been president someday if I did. After 4 disappointing seasons, it was so disappointed, your coach, Brian Newberry, plastered pictures of this magnificent trophy on every wall to remind you of the ultimate prize. And in 2024, you lived up to Coach Newberry's vision, and you showed the world, the midshipmen, and that you know how to fight, and win, right? And that's what you did. That's what you did. Wow. That's a hell of a trophy. How much does that weigh? I don't know. Am I supposed to carry that? I don't think it can be done. I hear it's quite heavy, actually. You won 10 of 13 games, including 9 by double digits. You beat Air Force, you beat Army, and now this 170-pound trophy, that's what it is yours once again. And I have to tell you, you had some brilliant players. On offense, you were led by an incredible fullback, team co-captain, Daba Fofana. Where is Daba? Where are you? Come here. Is he hard, Coach? Is he a hard guy to tackle? Could I tackle him running full speed? You don't suggest it, right? You want to say something? Come on.
I'm just going to say we couldn't have done it without Brian Newberry here, my co-captain here, Colin Ramos, and just everyone buying into the mission. And I'm excited. Praise the Lord.
Thank you. That's a great player, huh? That's great. Thank you very much. It's really beautiful. We have, on offense, we have a quarterback who is also very, very special. I hear he's great, Blake Horvath. Blake, where are you, Blake? Where are you? Come on up here. He said both, strong and accurate on, please.
Oh, appreciate it. No, it's an honor, right, to share this stage with President Trump, and I speak for the team when I say that. So thank you for having us, and it's all about the team. Trophy's a team. So great honor. Thank you, sir.
Are you being back, or are you?
Yes, sir. I'll be back next year.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching. I hear you. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Blake. We're gonna all be watching. This year, Blake tied the school record for touchdown passes in a single season, rushed for more than 1,200 yards. Wow, that's pretty good. And set a new school record for the longest rushing touchdown when he faked a handoff during a read option, carrying the ball 95 yards into the end zone to help beat Oklahoma. That's a serious team. We're not playing games here, Coach. Wow, is he a pretty good runner? Is he fast?
He is.
That's amazing. 195 yards for a quarterback. I'd say that's pretty good. But because of your teamwork, the midshipmen had the 6th best rushing offense and the #1 red zone touchdown offense. That's a big deal in all of college football. A truly amazing achievement. But to succeed, you have to excel on both sides of the ball, and the midshipmen had the #4 ranked red zone defense, led by one of the best tacklers in college football, linebacker and defensive captain, Colin Ramos. Where is Colin? There you go.
It's an absolute honor to be here. It was an amazing season. I'm so proud of these guys, and thank you, President Trump, for having us. Really an honor. Thank you.
I bet you're a tough guy. Huh? To do that, you got to be tough. Congratulations. That's beautiful. Great, huh? Opposing teams feared your secondary, especially the first ever midshipman with 2 pick sixes in a single game. Comeback. It was a big comeback to Sean Peel.
Yeah, we're just very grateful to be here. Yeah, that's it, really.
It's called the strong silent type, right? Thank you very much, Deshaun. And no one can forget contributions of the All-Star Safety Special Teams Player of the Year, and I guess an NFL prospect. A number of them are Ray Lane. Ray?
Yeah, I just want to say it's an honor to be here. Thank you for the support. And, you know, go Navy, beat Army.
In December, I was honored to personally attend the 125th Army-Navy game in a battle that would be one of the best ever between the schools. It really went down in the history books, Coach. After you held the lead all game, the fourth quarter Army offense prepared to tie it up. They were getting right down there. I was there to watch, and you showed something that was amazing. You showed a very brilliant game time, Coach IQ, I guess you'd call that, huh? Were you happy with the end? Yes, you were very happy. Did you think you were going to win the game at that point? Okay, he's got to say that, but it was pretty amazing, actually. You faked the fourth down punt and gave the ball to the 6-foot-tall, 285-pound nose guard, Landon Robinson, who found the seam and rumbled 29 yards down the field to clinch the victory and to beat Army. Okay, where are you now? Where are you? Come on. Wow. I wouldn't want to tackle him.
Thank you, sir. First off, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. President for inviting us. Super thankful. Wouldn't be here without my teammates, without my coaches for, calling the play and making sure that it was open for us to run it. So super thankful and excited for years to come. So
great job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
That'd be a hard guy to tackle, wouldn't it, Coach? It's painful. It's called painful. Great job. With the win, this trophy, you secure your spot as one of the greatest teams in Navy football history. That's a tremendous honor. You've had some great teams. As president, I've no higher honor than serving as the commander-in-chief of the America's Armed Forces. And I have to tell you that I've gotten to know so many of the people at the Academy, not only football players, just people generally. Roger Staubach is a friend of mine and a great person. Played golf with him. And the last time I played with him, he hit a shot, looked like we were in trouble, and he came out from behind a tree from about 130 yards away. He had no shot to the green, and it ended up about 6 inches from the hole. And I said, well, that's Roger Staubach, right? That's him. He was great. I tell you, when he played, he'd drop back, and he was in a different league. He was really amazing. What a player. What a player, what a great guy he is, but he loves your place. Since I took the oath of office, the spirit of our military has soared to new heights. Today, I'm proud to announce that in February, the U.S. Navy has best recruiting numbers since 2002. That's a long time ago. And under my administration, the Navy is on track to have the best recruiting year since the start of the war and the war on terror. But going back further than that, probably 25 to 30 years. So I can say this strongly. About 7 months ago, Pete, they were having numbers that were a disaster. And over the last 2 months, 2.5 months, the numbers have gone through the roof. So it's great. Michael, same thing. and the numbers went through the roof. And it's also true with all of the armed forces, and it's true with our police, with our firemen. There's a lot of spirit right now in the country that we didn't have 6 months ago. So that's an honor, but you have your highest recruiting numbers in about 20 years, and that's fantastic. That's pretty good, Sean, when you hear that, right? Pretty good. You can be proud. Within this amazing group of young men are 23 seniors who will graduate next month, including 13 Navy ensigns and 10 Marine Corps second lieutenants. Over the past 4 years, they've grown morally, mentally, and physically in preparation for their service to our nation. They're not just great football players, and you can see this, that they are just amazing people. They're true American warriors and future submarine captains and fighter pilots and Marine infantry and Navy SEALs. And we have I shouldn't say this too loud because some people aren't thrilled, but I'm thrilled. We have the largest budget we've ever had. We're buying gorgeous new ships, gorgeous new. And John, you're going to be working on that. John Phelan's a great businessman, one of the best. And you're going to get that job done. And we're going to make them beautiful looking ships too. The look is very important to me, John. You know, a lot of times they'll show me a ship or a plane and I say, that doesn't look good. They say, well, it's stealth. I said, I don't care if it's stealth or not. We're going to change it if we have to. I'm not sure I believe so much in the stealth thing, but we want the most beautiful equipment, the best equipment. That's what we're going to get, and you're going to lead the way, and I'll help you too because I like doing that stuff. And we're going to get a lot of ships, a lot of planes, and for all of the armed services. So I appreciate it, John. Do a job. And I just say to the gentleman behind me, your commitment is something very special. And as long as I'm Commander-in-Chief, the United States will always have the strongest, fiercest, and most powerful Navy on the sea. And again, we're going to restock it like it hasn't been restocked before. We're going to have $1 trillion budget. Think of it. You know, it's like crazy. It's crazy, but more than anybody else by double. And we're going to be in a league. I rebuilt our armed forces in my first term, got them almost entirely rebuilt. Then we had a catastrophe known as Biden, and in Afghanistan, he gave so much of the equipment away, but still it was only a small fraction of what we had done. And we're restocking it now, and we're going to have something that nobody's ever had before. So I'm counting on all of you people in the front to get out there, and we got to get the best equipment in the world. And we're going to pay the price, but we're going to get the best equipment in the world. We have to have it. Lots of ammunition, too. We get a little low on ammunition. I came into office and they said, first time they said, sir, we're very low on ammunition. I said, don't say that to the enemy. I don't want the enemy to hear that. And I came in this time and they said, sir, you're low on ammunition again. We gave a lot of it away, you know that, but we have to keep a lot of it. We have to keep it for ourselves also. So we're going to work together and we're going to do something great, Pete. And you're going to do a fantastic job doing the job you're already doing. You've made a big impact. So I'd like to now introduce a very special man, a great coach. You would rate him great, right? Good or great? Good. Oh boy, am I glad you said that. Would I be in trouble if he said anything? But there's nothing much you can say because we see his record. So, Coach, could you say a couple of words, please? Brian Newbrough. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, man.
And many thanks to your staff for taking care of us today and herding us around the building. Appreciate that. And many thanks to everyone here in attendance to honor these special young men here today. We're humbled and grateful to be here. The highest honor and the most important tangible goal in our program is to be standing here in the White House with our Commander-in-Chief and all of you here today. Proudly representing the United States Naval Academy, the entire brigade of midshipmen, and all the men and women serving in our Navy and our Marine Corps, both past and present. The young men here on the stage and some of them out here in the audience are some of the best and the brightest that our country has to offer. In a little over a month, these 23 seniors, these incredible young men standing behind me, will graduate and commission as officers in the United States Navy and Marine Corps under your command, Mr. President. And they will do so with tremendous character and the core values of duty, honor, courage, and commitment. I know there have been a lot of great teams. You mentioned some of those earlier, come through here, collegiate, professional, world champions, national champions. that have been honored here at the White House. But, Mr. President, this is your team. This is America's team. And the CIC trophy is the most coveted and honorable trophy in all of college sports. And it's our objective to come back here and get to know you a little bit better over the course of your tenure. This time, I'd like to bring up our two captains, Dabo Fofana and Colin Ramos, to present you, Mr. President, with a couple of nice gifts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Go Navy. Beat everyone.
Wow, that's a beauty. That's fantastic. Let me do this. Come on. Yeah, see, come on over. Come on over, Coach. Thank you very, very much. And we're going to bring the team and a few of your special friends down to the Oval Office. And we're going to have some fun, so I'll see you down there. And I'll carry this with me and I'll pretend I'm a great football player. Okay? Thank you all very much.
Midshipmen have departed the east. Thank you.
Was President Donald J. Trump with the Navy midshipmen holding that football the proper way with the tip of your hand around the tip of the football as he left the building. All right, folks, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. I think we're going to have Brian Glenn. I'm hoping we have Brian Glenn on the backside. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes.
Hey, America. Listen up. Car repairs are seeing record highs. They've seen a nearly 50% increase in recent years due to a shortage of car parts and workers, and that number is still rising. With more drivers choosing to keep their cars longer, that means a lot of out-of-warranty drivers are getting hit with expensive repair bills. If this is you, you're risking paying thousands when your vehicle breaks down. Or you could call CarShield now to help save big on your next covered repair. CarShield offers low month-to-month plans that have helped save drivers thousands on car repairs. These plans help protect your car, truck, or SUV and up to 5,000 parts and systems. Look at how much these repairs could cost. Just listen to how much these customers saved.
I've been a CarShield customer for more than 2 years. I've filed 4 claims and saved nearly almost $7,000.
I've been a CarShield customer for over 4 years. I've saved over $3,000 covering 2 cars, and I couldn't be happier.
Car repair costs are currently at an all-time high. Don't run the risk of having to pay out of pocket. Call CarShield right now and get their price lock guarantee, where your price never goes up as long as you cover your car.
Saving drivers money on car repairs with CarShield is only the beginning. Plans go the extra mile and include 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance, all at no additional cost to you.
Best of all, you'll get access to CarShield's concierge service, who can even help you find a mechanic near you.
Avoid the skyrocketing costs and call to speak to an expert now. Together, you can find the plan that works for you in just minutes. Don't wait. You have to call before your car breaks down, or it's too late.
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. It's not a matter of if, but when your car will break down. It's time to call CarShield now. Call 800-853-6533. 800-853-6533.
Hello, this is Mike Huckabee. President Trump said he wants to take back the White House and teach our kids to love our country. That's why my team created the Kids Guide to President Trump. It'll teach your kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his vision for America. And right now, I want to give it to you for free as part of this free gift bundle.
Order your free Kids Guide to President Trump, get a free bonus guide, and a free membership to AMAC featuring dozens of money-saving benefits at kidsneedtrump.com. That's kidsneedtrump.com.
Well, all right, voice of God. MD's not here. He was here all day. He was really early, and he took off. But Colin's here. Colin, would you say this was a hawk cam? Hawk cam. It's not like an eagle. Those are hawks. Hawks.
Yeah, those are hawks.
Okay, gotcha. In Oxford, Massachusetts. All right, got it. Hawk cams, folks. Hawk cam above a Little League field. Short porch on left, so to speak. I think about it. Every dollar you spend is either supporting your values or working against them in today's economy. Where you spend your money matters. That's how we take back our country. Patriot Mobile is leading the way as America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. Switch today without sacrificing quality or service. You'll get exceptional nationwide coverage because unlike most budget wireless providers, Patriot Mobile has access to all three major U.S. networks. You can even add two numbers on two networks on one phone, something the big guys just can't even do. Stay connected with flexible, unlimited data plans to fit your lifestyle. These plans offer high-speed data, mobile hotspots, international roaming, device protection, and even internet backup. Here's the best part. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're supporting faith, family, and freedom. If you believe in our First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and supporting our veterans, this is where you belong. Switching is simple. Keep your number, keep your phone, or even upgrade. Patriot Mobile, 100% US-based team will get you activated in minutes. Right now, go to patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT to get a free month of service with promo code RAV. Make the switch. Defend freedom. Defend the First and Second Amendment with every call and text. That's patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. Alrighty, now let's bring in our RAV Chief White House Correspondent, Brian Glenn, who's in Cobb County, Georgia, for Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's Tax Day Town Hall happening this evening in about an hour and 19 minutes or so. Brian, thanks for being here. So, Congresswoman Greene is off doing some speaking in different areas. But tell us what you're expecting tonight. Specifically, we're hearing there's going to be a lot of protests.
Well, yeah, it's kind of what they've done the last couple of months as Republicans hold these town halls around the country. Democrats usually rally together, go to these town halls and try to essentially crash them. But I don't anticipate that tonight for several reasons. Not only is this district heavily red and very supported with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but also we have a bunch of security. I mean, a ton of security here. They are making people prove by a valid driver's license that they actually live in the district. So if they live outside the district, they're not allowed. And even if you're a supporter of Marjorie, you're not allowed in this town hall. But nevertheless, I'm sure a few will sneak in here and try to make their voices be heard, as they have the right to do. But then they also have the right to be escorted out by one of our finest here in Ackworth, Georgia. It does kick off 6 o'clock tonight. She's been doing around the district all day, meeting with mayors and city officials in this district, and just really kind of getting back to what I guess the representatives should do when they go back home and not in Congress, is go talk to the people on the ground. But tonight, they're going to talk to about 300 people in this room. Right now, here's a little side note. We've had more than 50 media requests for this event. So we've got everything from CNN, C-SPAN, Fox, all the Atlanta media is here. But Real America's Voice will be where you can watch this tonight. Stay tuned to our social media for the link to watch this town hall.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, we love Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a firebrand, but what that does, it also makes the left crazy. And like you point out, First Amendment, you have a right to protest. That's what we embrace, the right to protest. Just do it legally, do it responsibly, and do it without violence. So those folks are supposed to be in some sort of holding pen outside of the venue, right?
That's correct. There is a lot across the street. They anticipate about 400 of these protesters based upon the analytics that they've gathered from some of the chat rooms, I think, that people are talking about. Whether or not that happens, we don't know. But I know one thing. We'll have about 300 people in this room, all asking questions. And she's going to kick this thing off. Here's a little sneak preview on here. This thing will kick off with a Barack Obama video that I think will set the tone for what they're going to hear tonight in Ackworth.
Tax day, I'm thinking maybe a little explanation of tariffs, but you just threw a loophole, a little, I don't know, curveball, like a low outside slider, which I could never hit in baseball. That's why I'm not playing anymore. Barack
I can't either.
Obama. Illegal immigration. I can't even place what in the world. Why are we even talking about the guy who almost took the country down?
I know. I don't know. I guess it's to fire up the crowd here, in case maybe there might be a few people in here that'll clap with it, but imagine there'll be a lot of boos in here. And this feels like a Trump rally, to be honest with you, with the security outside. The amount of security is incredible around this facility. The media, just the pageantry, I guess, the video screens. There's one right behind me right there that they'll be playing some of the videos on and pulling up.
You showed us in the break. You showed us the room. Can you spin that camera around again? It's a pretty. It's a good sized room
around here.
And I noticed when you showed me earlier, there were some names up on the front two rows. Who are those? Who are the dignitaries?
Yeah, these are local dignitaries. I don't know if anybody statewide. Obviously, I don't think let me make sure to get the autofocus in here. The governor.
That's a good sized room.
But
that's a really nice sized room. And I'm guessing they're gonna plant some of the protests and they're gonna fake it, and, with the fake IDs and whatnot. Go ahead.
Well, what's interesting about this, when you look at some of these town halls that have failed miserably, it's because the Republicans in those districts, Eric, didn't necessarily have the strong support that she has. I mean, obviously, people are very passionate about their representatives. In this district, they are. Mm-hmm. I've seen districts in Texas, and I'm not going to name any names, but they have these milquetoast, lame duck town halls where they draw few supporters, and most of us dominated by Democrats that infiltrate their way into these town halls, and they just ruin it. And that's why they end up on clips on CNN later. I would imagine you'll see clips on CNN later tonight, but you'll also see a massive room with supporters verbalizing their opposition to whoever chooses to come in here and disrupt this town hall. So it should be very interesting.
It's going to be very interesting, especially with the cops. I'm assuming the cops love Marjorie Taylor Greene, everything she's about, everything
they do.
You're about. And you're always at the forefront of the breaking news, political breaking news. Really good to have, your insight and your perspective. Especially, take a look at this, folks. Can we roll that little clip, the preview clip? Just roll it.
Franklin here at the White House. What a week it has been.
We have a couple of senators here I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce.
The LA Dodgers.
Mr. President, we have a gift for you as well.
To race car drivers.
And now he's going to do it back to back.
What the hell are you doing? What are you eating?
To world leaders.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States.
To press briefing. Stand over here in the corner. In the corner. This is the corner. It's a good corner.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all.
We're not even 100 days in yet.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
it's just incredible.
To be here covering it is a blessing of a lifetime.
I didn't show up to work in a hoodie today.
Not a bad day. Sunday in America.
Sunday in America with Brian Glenn. Sundays at 7 p.m. on Real America's Voice.
Now, Rav is real smart. You're at the forefront of the tip of the spear. You're getting it done. I would have just thrown the Zelensky's comment about his suit in that promo if I were that. But maybe week 2 we could add that for you because that was an amazing moment.
I have a funny story. About that if we have about 2 minutes. Do we have enough in this thing? I have not told this story on the air. Yeah. Do we have time? Okay. Let's do it. So I got a call yesterday from the Trump team, and they said, hey, we'd like to invite you in the Oval Office for the El Salvadorian president in there. We just want to have you an opportunity to ask some questions. I said, absolutely. Then I realized that I was not wearing a jacket because I woke up in the morning, I got dressed, I threw my winter coat over just my shirt and tie, forgot to put the suit coat on. Well, there was no way in the world I'm going to walk in that Oval Office without a jacket. Not only would it be political suicide for me, I would get murdered online. All the stories about how hypocritical I was to call Zelensky out, but yet I walked in the Oval Office without a jacket. So what I did, between a Lime bike, an Uber, and my shoes were running down the street, I ran home, got the jacket, ran back to the White House, only to miss the door closing in the Oval Office by about 5 minutes. But I was not going to disrespect the office of the presidency and not walk in there without a suit jacket.
Good for you. Good call on that. And as your agent who's going to book you on suit, like Warehouse for Men commercials going forward, I'll take my 10%. I'm glad you didn't because that would have blown our
you can have it. I'll give you 15 because we're friends. I'll give you 15%.
All right, I'll take 10. I'll tithe all of it. Whatever. Anyway, Brian, really good having you. Really good working with you. And congratulations.
Thank you,
good luck on the Sunday show. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes.
If we've learned anything over the past few years, it's that devastating events can strike without warning. Global pandemics, acts of terror, and even bank collapses that can cause chaos in a matter of moments. And I just want you to be prepared. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and it's for these reasons that I strongly recommend a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has protected wealth through every kind of crisis. Birch Gold can show you how to move your retirement savings into an IRA in gold, legally and tax-free. For decades, they've helped thousands of Americans protect their IRA or 401k from unexpected events. To learn more, click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group, the only gold company I trust. Don't wait for the next crisis to strike. Take action now to protect your family's financial future. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report I just read. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Join the over 2 million Americans who love this country. Join the over 2 million members who love America. Join AMAC.
Now, this is a beautiful place. This is a wonderful, beautiful place of this great American country. Sedona, Arizona, one of the most spiritual places. I'm not a spiritual guy, but you get there and something happens to you. It's so wonderful, beautiful, quiet, serene, amazing. The weather's perfect all the time. Sedona, Arizona, folks. All right, it's a new day in America and a new administration in D.C. There's a lot of excitement and optimism about the future, but the reality is there's a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. And the truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going away anytime soon. The challenges our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared. That's where the wellness company comes in. Great doctors here, folks. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy, whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, first aid kit, or the travel kit. These prescription meds and kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guides to assist in the proper use of the medications, from the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas. The wellness company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy again starts at home. Do your part. Protect the health of you and your family. Go to twc.health.voice today and order. That's twc.health/voice. Use the promo code VOICE and save 10%. All right, we got a few minutes. My favorite part of the day, folks. My most favorite part of the day, I learned something. Bringing Steve Bannon, the one and only Stephen K. We miss you, brother. We missed you a couple of days. Jack's great, but I got our Bannon back. Where you been?
I've been, yesterday I was en route to give a speech to the great Greenville, South Carolina GOP, which had about 1,200 people there last night for their convention to elect delegates to the state convention in May. And these are fire breathers, precinct strategy. So it was fantastic. Great folks.
Great conservative folks. Great Bannon lovers as well. Chris Van Hollen. So there's this whole back and forth about the guy that they're calling the Maryland man, Steve. You know, the El Salvadoran national who came over here, became an MS-13 member, became one and came here and has done things accused of possibly human trafficking, maybe drug trafficking, broke the law getting here. We sent him back, and now the left loves this guy for some reason, including a Democrat from the state of Maryland. Listen.
I saw the comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with him. I've requested to meet with him. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask to meet while he's here. But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained. A Maryland man who's the father of 3 in a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States.
That framing of the Maryland man, Steve, is about as often discussing as political as you could possibly get.
Well, I think, look, let him go down this road. I think President's pretty adamant about this. We're going to have Margot Cleveland from the Federalist on to talk about what they're teeing up, as you see, Eric, a constitutional crisis. This is Weissman and the crowd at MSNBC and the New York Times. So Margot Cleveland's going to be from the Federalist. We also got the great Natalie Winters. Eric is talking about a judge that's blocking President Trump from deporting 400,000 illegals that are here, about his activity on working on Democratic Party campaigns. So, look, the Democratic Party is choosing this narrative, is going to go down this path. If that's what they want to do, let them go. I think it's an 80-20 issue, but hey, have at it.
Have at it. Continue. Yeah, let them. And I watched Caitlin Collins walk CNN into the ambush in the Oval Office yesterday. It was a beautiful sight. Couldn't believe she went at it 2 and 3 times and got smoked. She got leg swept and, one of the atomic elbows.
Hold it. So bowling. Hold it, bowling. What was the worst rap? Was the one Caitlin Collins walked into, or was the one Gretchen Whitmer walked into?
I don't
What's
know.
Been the worst trap?
The picture,
Oval Office trap.
Yeah, with the picture of her hiding behind the binders, it was hilarious. And she couldn't. I think Caitlin Collins smoked CNN. I mean, she just laid him on a platter for Trump and Bukele to hit the ball over the left field fence. In fact, I was on a podcast saying, this is what I'm getting to. I spent 2.5 hours. Patrick Bet-David does a massively popular podcast, and I was on it with, he tends to have opposing side. Chris Cuomo was the opposing side, and, over 2.5 hours, I was, talking about you a lot, Steve, and talking about MAGA and, you being the godfather of it, and me being there from the beginning, OG MAGA. And by the end, he was almost sounding MAGA to me. So watch what I did at the end of this 2.5 hours.
Cuomo was something.
I brought a t-shirt.
Notice how he waited. At the end of the podcast.
What does it say? Steve Bannon is my spirit animal.
He's coming around. You're on your way. I'll tell you what. This is a trade from. I took my family on safari, and everybody picked a spirit animal. Yeah. And there's this stupid little antelope called a dick. And I let my kids name my spirit animal, and they said, "You're the dick."
That's so
what is it called?
Funny.
A dick.
D-I-K.
Dick.
You're serious.
Yeah, that was a rough day. So this is a big come up.
Yeah, it's probably not the first time or last time he's been called the dick. Sorry. I digress.
Wow, that's one of the biggest podcasts around.
It is, and we did 2.5 hours on tariffs, and you and I have talked about Lutnick, and I'm not a fan, and I'm understanding you're not a fan, and I do. I hope America somehow this is a great idea that I'm not seeing, and it's all going to come together. But listen, you have a lot of fans there, and everyone really appreciates what you brought to the table, Steve.
Well, 2.5 hours. You were 2.5 hours with going mano a mano against Chris Cuomo.
Yeah, but there was Patrick, who hosts. It's his podcast, and there were two other guys, Vinny and Tom, who get involved. But it was mostly us having banter. And I'm telling you, Cuomo is sounding more and more like. I wouldn't call him MAGA. I would call him right of center, but I think clearly I think he has to do that.
Chris Cuomo, right of center. That has nothing to do with the ratings boost over at News Nation, right? That's totally unrelated to his new show and driving traffic over there.
Yeah,
totally unrelated.
Yeah,
his
what a
awakening.
Coincidence. What's a coincidence, right? Yeah. All right, I'll let you go. Take over. You got a big show. Appreciate it, and good to have you back. Spirit animal, friend of mine.
Eric Boeing, always great to do the handoff every day. Highlight of my day. So thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. The great Eric Bowling. Tonight, we're going to start with a cold open. We're going to Georgia. We're going to Georgia. We're going to talk to our own Brian Glenn is there about pretty wild town hall maybe on the horizon at 6 o'clock. Let's get the cold open and get rolling here in the war room.
Let's give you the headlines of the news coming out of China. There's a report that China has told its airlines to halt deliveries of new Boeing aircraft as well as parts. Now, this is one report. It has not been confirmed by the state government, at least not in a statement yet. Just for some context, China has taken delivery of 18 Boeing aircraft this year, 18 new aircraft, but the order backlog is immense out of China. And when you look at it, they've got 128 named orders, hundreds more that are in the queue but have not been named to specific Chinese airlines. There's also a report with regard to tariffs that is going to catch a lot of attention. Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary, a friend of the Squawk Box crew, he told the FT today that there is every likelihood they may delay Boeing aircraft deliveries due to tariffs. And this is what we've heard more chatter about within the last week, guys, that airlines are going to say, wait a second, I got to pay a tariff on this aircraft? Maybe I don't need it right now. You hold on to it. Now, this is just the comments of Michael O'Leary, but this has been percolating under the surface a little bit within the airline industry, that as this tariff war heats up, the implications for Boeing, for Airbus, there could be large ripple effects.
Removal. This administration is just saying, sorry, we just can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
What does that say to you about where we're going to be?
Where we're going to be. This is where this segment and the segment you just completed intersect. If you're going to move the United States, with all of its institutions, toward a more authoritarian form of government, where the president ignores the courts, rules by decree, you need to hold your party in Congress together, because Congress becomes the way of protecting you from what the courts can do, which is issue summonses for contempt, civil or criminal. If you want to hold your party in Congress together, you'd better deliver relative economic success so they're not all sweating that they're about to lose 40 seats in the next midterms and face a defeat so big that even gerrymandering and friendly judges in places like North Carolina and Wisconsin can't help them. But Donald Trump is not doing that. He's not holding up his end of the bargain. In his first term, Trump mostly avoided doing anything too stupid with the economy until the second half of 2018, when he started doing tariffs that were pretty small compared to those he's just instituted. In this administration, he's begun wreaking havoc on the economy from the beginning. We've had financial panic. So far, it's not showing up in the real economy, mostly because people in business have warehoused large amounts of inventory, so we're not going to start running out of tube socks just yet. But by midsummer, the real economy is going to be feeling it. You are going to see layoffs. You're going to see rising unemployment, and you're going to see Republicans in Congress sweat. So Trump has not, as usual, thought this through. He's made a very ambitious bid for executive power, ignoring the courts, while his economy is about to fall apart underneath.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. Here's not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country,